I talking with my parents that I like nature. I like bird watching and it take many times. If I were homeschooling, I have more time to study about it. It might be good.
You won the award of being Young Wildlife Photographer of the Year.
It's called The Beauty of Bali. This is a shot that I love. Everything is real. We cannot like I want bird to perching on this branch. Oh, this branch is very beautiful. Can the bird perching on that?
Did you like animals in general?
I'm scared of dog.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting.
You go in the forest and you catch the snake, you catch the spider, but you're scared of the dog.
Global warming is such a cliche. Stop talking about it already. We know. หมูเด้ง should be kept in the zoo.
ในมุมของผมนะคนในเมืองแทบจะไม่จำเป็นจะต้องมานั่งเรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับสัตว์เลยแต่เขาควรจะรู้ว่าสิ่งที่เขาทำมันเอฟเฟกต์อะไรบ้าง
ไม่ต้องไปนั่งศึกษาก็ได้ว่าแบบม้ามฮิปโปทำงานอย่างไร
ใช่
That's not necessary at all.
Yes.
But again, he's 18, very young, and to me, this is hope. This is Comedy Featuring. My name is Vic, and welcome to the show. Our guest today shoots animal, but with camera, not with guns, which we are against. But with a camera, the best kind of shooting. First of all, he's very young, but when he was even younger, he has won an award, an international award for wildlife photography, which is very special and impressive, I might say. Another thing about him that says that he's not just an ordinary typical Thai kid is that he chose homeschooling over a traditional cool high school life. But I don't know, to me, homeschool is really cool. I'll ask him on the show more about how cool homeschool is. And lately, he's been a part of a celebrity and influencers who work closely with UNICEF Thailand. The campaign called Count Me In. I'm sure he's got a lot of stories to tell about that too. So let's go talk to him. Win Katanyu, สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Thank you for coming to คำนี้ดีครับ
I need to introduce myself.
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Win Katanyu Wutishaithanakon. I'm a wildlife photographer, a nature lecturer, and now I'm a zoology student from Kasetsart University.
Okay.
First year.
All right. So a random question to start us off. Maybe it's not that random because I wouldn't ask this question to any of my guests. What is your most favorite animals?
Bruta whales.
Brutal whale.
Yes.
No wonder because that's got you
The
winner
award.
prize, the
Yeah.
award, right? We will talk about that more on the show too. So yeah, that's what I really want to ask you about because like I mentioned earlier, you're still very young. You're 18 right now, right?
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, when you were 16, you got this award. And let's talk about the photo that won you the award. What is it called?
It's called The Beauty of Baleen. Baleen is we'll have two types. Baleen whales and toothed whale. The toothed whale they can chew. They can catch the fish. They can catch the seal, the squid like an sperm whale. They have teeth, so they can catch and chew the squid. But baleen whale they don't have teeth, so they need to eat the small things, anchovies like that.
Yeah.
And when they grab the food, the anchovy inside the mouth, they grab not just the anchovy, they grab the water also. So they put the tongue up to the pedan part,
Okay.
to put the water out from the mouth. And baleen block the small things that they eat to don't run out with the water.
Yeah. I see. So for most people, I think maybe they take a look at this picture and they couldn't even tell that this is a whale, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I think you're kind of familiar with the picture. It's like a giant comb in the whale's mouth. And as you described, it helps them with the eating, the feeding, right? Okay. So that's what got you the award. We'll talk about that in detail later too.
Okay.
I want to backtrack a bit to you at a very young age because that's what we have learned about you is that you took interest in this thing at a very young, when you were very young. So I was wondering, what did you like first, taking a picture or animals?
Animals.
Animals. So it's like you love animals, you want to observe them, and you start taking pictures of them.
Yes.
Okay.
It
and that
starts
has-
since I was like very young kids. My mom like buy me a robot or some toys. I
Yeah.
don't play it. I play just the animal figures.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not remember that. My mom told me, and my mom took me to the zoo, to the nature camp, bird watching camp, something like that. And I start like it. Then I'm going like with a group to bird watching. Firstly, I'm not a photographer with a camera. I'm the bird watcher with the binocular.
Okay.
Yes. And then I think that it might be good that I have a camera to capture the moment when I'm seeing the birds, beautiful birds, rare birds, who were like for my collection. Yeah, and I start.
So it started off with birds mostly,
Yes.
like bird watching.
Yes.
But did you like animals in general? Like, did you have like pets at home, like
I have
cats, dogs, fish?
no. I'm
No.
scared. I'm scared of dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting.
There's only
You-
only one animal on the world that I'm scared.
Which is dogs?
Dogs. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know why.
Not necessarily that a person who loves animal would love all kinds of animals.
Yeah. My mom always tells me like, you go in the forest and you catch the snake, you catch the spider, but you scare off the dog. Like,
And that's true about you. You can like catch snakes.
yeah.
Whoa. Wow. Maybe your first confrontation with dogs was that negative, so that makes you scared them later in life?
I'm not sure. My mom tell me that maybe when she's pregnant and the dog step on, like jump on me, she's very,
your
and I
tummy?
start scaring in that time.
Ooh, very intuitional.
I don't know.
All right. Okay. So, and when was the first time that you actually went into the forest for the purpose of capturing animal with your camera?
It start after I'm a bird watcher. So after my first camera was broken and I used my dad camera that is DSLR. My first camera is compact.
Okay.
So when I'm start using the DSLR and I'm like, it might be good that if I can share the moment to other people, maybe people in the city, to see like what I see in the wild because it's very amazing. When I was like sometime when I was young and I like how many people that know that they have like this beautiful thing in the forest and I like okay I want to share this to someone, maybe my friends, maybe my mom, my dad.
So at first you didn't think of it as a career or something you
Yeah,
want
no.
to do seriously,
Just a
but
hobby.
you just want to do more to share with people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a hobby.
Yeah. So tell us about what is so amazing about bird watching, because actually we've talked to Mong on one of our episodes. He's a like big bird enthusiast. And I want to ask you from your perspective, like what is so amazing about this?
Bird watching? I think it's like playing the Pokemon, like the real life Pokemon Go.
Oh, yeah.
We go and collect the species. Like okay, we found this bird. Oh, this bird I have found before. This bird I haven't found it before. Like they call lifer. We have bird watcher. We have their own lifer.
Okay.
And when they have some kind of rare birds migration to Thailand, maybe in Chiang Mai, in Chiang Rai, something like that. Some bird watcher we call twitcher. They will go to airport and fly to see that bird like immediately. I don't know how.
Actually, Mong did mention something about
Yes.
along those lines who like, okay,
Yes.
if I know that like these kind of birds are found or spotted, I will go there. I'll be there to
Yes.
watch them in person.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like that for you too.
Yes.
Wow. Amazing. So what was it a goal or a purpose of bird watching to like cross off all the birds that you want to see? Like, do you have a long list of like most wanted to see bird for yourself?
The bird that I want to see, I have seen it before. Is the spoonbill sandpiper.
Okay.
It's like the bill is like look like spoon. It critically endangered. I think now it's like 300 and in the world. 300 left.
I see. So that's too little, too
Yes.
few. Yeah. So when you came across some cool birds, what did you do besides taking picture of them? Did you write it down? Did you like do journaling?
before when I was young, I like to write it on the bird guide. Like this one is the bird guide, like the first edition of
very
bird guide
classic, right?
that I use in my life. This one from like I'm 8 years old, 10 years old, around that. I will write like maybe have some stupid things that I like the kid likes to do
Okay.
like this.
I'm pretty sure at the time you must have heard the word like wildlife photographer. So you had to know it's a thing and it could be a career. Did you think about maybe I can live my life as a wildlife photographer, like for real?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think, but like after 2 or 3 years of taking a picture, and I think like I would be happy if I can work like this because it's a thing I like.
Yeah.
Like
Fast forward to the year 2022. That was when you had the award. You won the award of being the Young Wildlife Photographer of the Year.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about how that happened. Like when you first found out about how to be a part of this and what got you the award.
Firstly, that award is like my dream. I set my goal like maybe 10 years to got this award. I'm very confident with my picture, that picture. No, I don't want to say that.
I think you're entitled to say that. Yeah.
I really like that picture. I set my picture to be the wallpaper of my computer.
So when was that picture taken?
1 year before the award.
Oh, okay. All right.
I took it and I like, oh, this is a shot that I love. I love it, and I see it every day because it's on my desktop, and I'm not bored because when I'm working on the picture, I will see that okay, this picture I'm seeing it like 50 times and I'm bored, so I put this picture out from the folder.
I see.
But this picture, I'm not bored. I don't know. I just like it, and I'm okay. I should enter this competition.
Okay, so you submit this picture.
Yes.
And were you confident that you will win the first prize?
No, but
No?
I sent 10 picture. But this is
okay.
the one that I'm most confident
Oh,
in,
you can
in the 10
you can
picture.
enter more than one pictures.
Yes.
I see. And you kind of thought that okay, if any of these is gonna win, it's got to be this picture.
Something like that.
Okay.
Sounds like that.
Yeah, and as it turned out, you got the award.
Yeah.
You won, right? So how surprised were you? Because you must have seen other people's pictures too.
First time that I know, I feel like it's me. It's me.
Yeah.
I didn't think that I will won the award because I set the goal for like 10 years. And I enter another 2 or 3 years like from that. I not award at all.
Yeah, but
Only one time.
with different pictures, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So well, congratulations. Like,
Thank you.
all right. And can we go back a little bit about because I still want to ask you about your process. Like when you know that you would want to go into the wild for this certain trip that you want to take pictures. What is your process like basically, and what steps do you take?
When I go for work, like photography work, I will start from packing, like backpacking, doing some stuff, and if it was work, I will need to look for the reference.
Okay.
Like, okay, the ผู้จ้าง they want the work like this. They want some kind of shot like this to show the function of the camera, something like okay.
Oh, okay.
I need to research and find the reference from that. And next, เตรียมใจ
Okay, you prepare yourself.
Yes.
Like mentally.
I need to prepare myself because not all the time that I will get the picture. It's nature. So
it's not scripted.
yes,
You can't like okay, leopards come out now and
Yeah.
then walk slowly for me.
yeah.
You cannot do that.
Sometimes I go to the forest like 3 days and got nothing at all.
Okay, and that's something that as a wildlife photographer you have to know that this could happen.
Yes.
But when that happens actually and you got nothing from the trip that you're supposed to submit some work to your clients, what did you do? You have to go back in again?
Yes.
Or,
I need to rework again.
wow. Okay. So what other kind of clients that you have worked with? Besides like camera?
Mostly camera. I
Okay.
work with Canon. Like sometimes it's like UNICEF that I take a picture and like, okay, this picture maybe can tell like storytelling about the climate change, something like that.
Yeah.
They have one work. I work for the production company from London, taking with the film camera to be a documentary about Buddha whales in the Gulf of
okay.
Thailand.
I see.
And I go filming like 11 times and got nothing.
11
got
times,
first
like 11 trips that you go into.
Yeah, first time I got almost all footage that they want, but
Okay.
they have the shot like the trap feeding one that I got the award. They want that shot again, but the whale didn't do that to me.
Okay.
11 times I got nothing.
Wow.
Luckily I got it in 12 times.
Yeah. Unpredictability of the jobs could be very savage. You have to be very resilient and you have to be very patient
Yeah.
for that one special shot that you needed, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when did it happen, like working with clients? Because as we mentioned twice already, you were still very young. You were 18 at the time. So going back in which year did you start like taking on clients and sponsors and like paid job like this?
I start before I got awarded, like 1 year before I got awarded.
So when you were 15, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Around
And
that.
how did you know how to work with like clients or brands?
No.
Did anybody teach you or coach you?
No, I'm just like study from other photographer that, oh, you work like this. Okay, I copy you. Firstly I copy you. Okay.
Wow.
Example, you work for the camera, one model. And okay, they work like this. They made the storyline like this. Okay, I copy at the first. Okay, I'll do like this. I'll do the same. And like when I have some experience from many photographer and I like, okay, I can do my own storyline like that. But some work that hard like a concert photographer.
Oh, you've done that too?
Yeah, but it's like the private concert for the company. But I like
okay.
sometimes I feel like not my place. Because when I take a picture in the forest and like it's quiet, it has just the sound of the stream, of the insect, of the frog, like that. In the concert, it's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, very different, right?
Yes.
And no, this is
But
not
it's
my
quite
kind of.
it's quite fun. And one time taking
Okay.
the Paradox concert, Body Slam concert. And
Ooh.
that one is fun.
Yeah, but it was a great experience to have, right?
Yeah,
like
it's very good.
kinds of
Yeah,
like
very good
photography.
experience.
Yeah, and it's a good thing too that finally you figured, oh, okay, wildlife photography is my thing.
Yes.
And I want to do this for a
Yes.
living. Okay, that's great. All right, I want to ask you about the difference between now that you mentioned you've done other kinds of photography before, and what would be the thing that you love the most about wildlife photography itself?
Like we cannot set anything. Everything is real. We cannot like, okay, I want bird to perching on this branch. This
Yeah.
this branch is very beautiful. Can the bird perching on that? No, we cannot. It's feel like we setting the camera on the branch and like, please the bird come down to this branch, something like that. I think this is the fun moment and the community of wildlife photographer. Like when we are in the forest, we talking at night, we like talking in the front of the tent. I like the moment like that.
The sense of community, like people who loves the same thing,
Yeah, and
gathering and do
talking,
things
yeah.
together.
Everything, the people that like the same thing, when they are together, they're very happy.
Yeah. So you've been doing this for 10 years,
Around that.
approximately.
Yeah.
All right. So with you documenting everything like in nature, I suppose you must have seen for your very own eyes how things have changed in terms of like climate change, what climate change has been doing to our nature. So I think what kind of change did you see in your photos that could be a real proof for the climate change thing?
I think it's not shown by like in my picture, but it's like the story after that. Like I have the plover picture. Plover is a one kind of like sandpiper, the weather. It says the migration birds that the migration from Russia and climate change also affect their flyway. Something like that. Or like picture that I took from Ganggacha National Park. I go there very often. Before I think I see more bird than now. Now I see bird like very fewer.
So it kind of very obvious, and we can actually see that climate change is not that far away from us at all. It kind of affects what's happening around us, especially like forests and wildlife.
Yes.
Yeah. And oftentimes when we take a look at these pictures from the wild, it could be very heartbreaking too to see how little we actually care about all this wildlife or what's happening in the forest. Anything that stood out to you that you can still remember that is very memorable, that affect you very emotionally?
Maybe some Buddha whales that I took a picture like 5 years ago, and one day I seen in the news that she died, something like that.
Yeah.
Some of them died like naturally died. It's okay, but some of them got seen like 3 kilograms of plastic in their belly, in their stomach. Just feel bad.
And now you work with UNICEF Thailand and be a part of the campaign called
Count Me
Me
In.
In, right?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about the campaign and what you have done so far.
It's like the campaign that usually about climate change, that what we think about climate change, what we think that we can help our world about the climate change from the perspective of the kids.
And actually, there's a lot of celebrities, influencers, and people involved in this very campaign. And I noticed that each and every one of them has their own way of voicing your concern. And yours is, of course, through your photos. Yeah. Do you think photos are how effective and powerful are photos in telling stories about how we should be more concerned about nature?
We can look in many ways. Like normally the beautiful picture is affect just like, we have these beautiful things and we need to protect it to have this kind of bird forever, like that. But I think the most effective picture is like the picture that some animal died, not the beautiful picture. The picture that animal died, the picture of the plastic in the whale stomach. I don't know. I think they have some people that think that maybe this is the plastic that I have dropped in the sea. Maybe some people will think that and like, okay, maybe I need to stop. I need to reducing use the plastic, something like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, you might not be able to, and you can affect everybody in the world. But if you can get few people thinking about what to do next when they decide to throw a piece of garbage into the ocean or on the street, that is gonna worth it a lot. Even that, because I think pictures could be a very universal thing too. You don't need to learn how to read the picture, right?
Yeah.
And you can just feel it, and
Yes.
you can, and that could lead you to thinking more about your own action and about people around you too. Yeah. Oh, that is so good. All right. So I want to talk to you more about climate change and sustainability thing, because sometimes when these words are thrown into the conversation, people might think that it's so boring, it's so far away
Yes.
from me, and
Yes.
I don't want to feel guilty hearing about this because of course I'm a part of it, right? So I want to throw at you some statement, and I want to ask you what you think about these. All right? Okay. So some people might think global warming is such a cliche. Stop talking about it already. We know.
Yeah, I think yes, because like when we have some natural disaster, flooding, forest fire, thunderstorm, something like that, and we tell that is from global warming. Everything from global warming.
Yeah.
And like I hear the global warming since I was born. I'm born and I hear global warming, global warming, global warming every day.
Yeah.
And like maybe they feel like COVID-19 before it looked very dangerous. Now still have COVID-19, but we're not scared them a lot. But they still have the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's boring. It's a boring thing.
Yeah.
But I think not a lot of people that know what climate change is and what climate change affect, how it affect not just the natural disaster that happen. Maybe it's something that you don't see it, but it's happening.
Yeah. And I think things could get even worse because it's been getting worse and worse every day.
Yes.
We heard and we seen and we were a part of the flood, the big flood. And not so much in our country, but a hurricane that we've seen in America, for example. Not so much in Thailand, but who knows? It might be more.
Yeah.
And it could caused by all this climate change. So I think people need to be made aware of, this is it. This is the boring thing that we keep talking about, but it's real and it could affect your life. It could like cause you like the loss of home and family and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So what about this one? Reducing plastic bag use can actually save the planet.
In my opinion, firstly, like if we reduce using plastic, they will still manufacturing it. It won't help because manufacturing the plastic bag is make a lot of microplastic to the ocean and make a lot of pollution.
Yeah.
But if we stop using plastic bag and they stop manufacturing it, yes, it helps.
I think it's a big complex things.
Yes.
It can't just open overnight like, okay, stop, and then everybody stops.
Yes.
It's not going to happen like that.
And
right?
it's very hard because it's convenient. It's the convenient
I
things.
know, yeah.
Like I'm still use the plastic bag
Right.
sometimes.
Yeah. But at least we are like mindful of using them more, I think, because when we keep talking about it, like the message will get through to someone eventually, and that's what we hope for, I
Yeah.
think. Okay, what about this one? Bangkok will be underwater by the year 2050.
Yes.
2050 กรุงเทพจมน้ำ All of us have heard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible?
Can I explain in Thai?
Yeah.
คือกรุงเทพมันเป็นแอ่งกระทะเนาะ3,000 years ago Bangkok was underwater ตามธรรมชาติสักวันหนึ่งกรุงเทพก็จะต้องอยู่ใต้น้ำตามธรรมชาติถึงแม้จะไม่มีคนเป็นตัวแปรก็ตามแต่ว่าคนเนี่ยเป็นตัวที่กำลังไปเร่งตัวแปรให้สิ่งเหล่านั้นเกิดขึ้นเกิดเร็วขึ้น
Okay.
เพราะสุดท้ายสักวันหนึ่งกรุงเทพก็ต้องอยู่ใต้น้ำอยู่แล้ว
Okay. ตามวัฏจักรที่โลกนี้เป็น
ใช่ครับ
ใช่ไหมครับ
ใช่ครับ
Okay. So but maybe we can delay that a little, you think? Or
But now I think we make it faster.
yeah, that's the thing, right? Yeah. So if we could help anything, the thing is, I think nobody knows for sure 100% what we do will cause what, right? But if we try our best, at least, I think one little effort combined, like for the whole world, I think it could make a change somehow.
Very hard.
What about this one? Bangkok can never be a green city. It has no animals. It has no green spaces.
For right now, it's not a green city because it have like a lot of building, but it's because it's the capital city of Thailand. But they still have like Benchakiti Park, สวนรถไฟ Park, สวนสมเด็จพระนางเจ้าสิริกิติ์ Park that is still like the little green space, and we can help like we can plant the tree at home, something like that. I want to like the example about the Benchakiti Park เป็นอีโคซิสเต็มที่สมบูรณ์ที่สุดของกรุงเทพ because it's made from the real ecosystem in the wild. You see that sometimes that the grass, the plants in Benchakiti Park was turned brown. It's nature in the ecosystem in the wild. It was like that, and in a few months it turned green. And it's going brown again, it's turned green. It's like
Just like in nature.
Yes.
Just like in real nature.
Yes.
Okay. And that's a good thing that we still have some space like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This one is pretty controversial. หมูเด้ง should be kept in the zoo. What do you think?
I think Mudeng should kept in the zoo because she born in the zoo and her whole life was in the zoo got take care by the zookeeper and สวนสัตว์เปิดเขาเขียว they take good care of all animals I have seen the background of the like Safari World and สวนสัตว์เปิดเขาเขียว I have seen the background that they take very good care of animals and all animal is happy I'm not the zoo anti-er yeah but I don't like some zoo that not take a good care of animal because they cannot find their own food they under people who feel like that
yeah so the idea of the zoo is not evil at all
yeah and I think the positive way is when the Mudeng got viral and zoo can educate people about this endangered species lots and lots of people got know this endangered species
exactly so have you seen any kind of animals that you kind of feel like oh they do not belong here in the zoo
for me I think dolphin I'm
like
not
in
feel
the
like
สวนน้ำ or in the aquarium
yeah
okay
because in my opinion I'm not feel like dolphin should be in the zoo because one time I'm go filming the dolphin in Andaman like around Phuket I think I follow them like 50 kilometers they swim along the big ocean like their home very wide their home is like 100 kilometers 1,000 kilometers but they need to stay in the small space like that
they should not be confined
yes.
with this small space because you know for you saw with your own eyes that their home is a lot bigger than this
yes
all right how about this one there's no need for city people to learn about animals
this one I want to say in Thai
okay go ahead
ผมรู้สึกว่าในมุมของผมนะคนในเมืองแทบจะไม่จำเป็นจะต้องมานั่งเรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับสัตว์เลยแต่เขาควรจะรู้ว่าสิ่งที่เขาทำมันเอฟเฟกต์อะไรบ้างควรจะรู้ว่าเรื่อง climate change ควรจะรู้ว่า climate change ส่งผลอะไรบ้างเกิดจากอะไรบ้างควรจะรู้ว่าแบบ biodiversity loss การสูญเสียความหลากหลายทางชีวภาพกำลังส่งผลอะไรกับโลกเราอยู่หรือว่าการกระทำของเราอย่างหนึ่งสามารถเอฟเฟกต์กับอะไรได้บ้างควรจะรู้ประมาณนี้มากกว่าเหมือนที่แบบผมจะชอบพูดว่าถ้าเกิดสมมติว่าพวกพูดในมุมแบบเห็นแก่ตัวเนาะเราไม่ต้องแคร์หรอกว่าเราทิ้งขยะลงพื้นแล้วใครจะมาเก็บหรือมันจะไปเอฟเฟกต์กับสัตว์อะไรบ้างเราแคร์ก็ได้ว่าการที่อยู่ทิ้งขยะลงพื้นมันเกิดเป็นไมโครพลาสติกลงไปอยู่ในทะเลพอลงไปอยู่ในทะเลปุ๊บเข้าไปอยู่ในร่างกายของสัตว์ทะเลต่างๆสุดท้ายมันก็กลายมาเป็นอาหารให้เรากินก็คือเรากำลังกินสิ่งที่เราทิ้งลงไปอยู่ถ้ามองในมุมนั้น
คือในภาพใหญ่เนาะไม่ต้องไปนั่งศึกษาก็ได้ว่าแบบม้ามฮิปโปทำงานอย่างไร That's not necessary at all but the thing that you do and could potentially harm all the animals and then harm back to you give harm back to you that's it makes sense
in the
that you should
selfish way
yeah but it could be seen as selfish but after all we all do things for our own most of the time too and it'll affect back to us so why not care about that
yes
okay all right of course I mentioned before that you chose homeschooling over traditional schooling so how did that happen and since when did you take homeschooling
take homeschooling since grade 7 to grade 12
wow that's very young
yeah
and did you come up with the idea yourself or was it your parents
I talking with my parents that I like nature I like bird watching and it take many times
and you were like 6th grade at the time ป .6 ประมาณนั้น
yes
wow
and I was like if I were homeschooling and I have more time to study about the thing that I like it might be good first time my mom like okay you can try and like it's going good so I'm homeschooling
ever since
yes
okay
so
how
12.
did you learn about homeschooling did you read about it or you watch it from any contents on YouTube or something like
that? I read about it a little bit but I have many friends that homeschooling since I was in the normal school
I see okay
and I asked my friend like how they study how they do the project how they can pass from grade 7 to grade 8 something like that
okay because you still after all you still need the credentials the credits that you can use later if you decide later on to like go into the uni, right?
Yes.
Okay, you have to make sure that everything works out. Okay, and was it like I want to do homeschooling because there are a lot of classes I didn't want to take? Was that a part of a big reason to go for homeschooling?
No, but
Okay.
a little bit because I'm interested in nature of like straight way always love the nature, love the animal.
Okay.
So if you have something like in mathematics, in chemistry class that I think I didn't need to use it in future. So when I'm homeschooling, I can put this thing out. I'm not study this thing and I use the time that for study this thing to study the thing that I like and I know that for sure 100% I need to use it this thing in the future.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So it was like you want to focus on something that you love the most.
Yes.
Yeah. And another thing that you knew that you would have to sacrifice is friends and like going to school with like classmates, doing activities and stuff like that. Did you think that, oh, maybe I didn't want to lose this? Or it doesn't matter to me?
My homeschooling still have friends. We have
Okay.
friends. We didn't go to the school to every day, but we have friends. We have the meeting. We have the class online. We have the sport day that we can go and play sport together, like small competition.
Yeah.
We have the camp that we can go and play together, talking, playing card game, something like that.
Yeah, I think this is one of the big misunderstandings about homeschooling.
Yes.
People might think that, okay, homeschooling might mean you and your parents, like in
Yeah.
the small room, just two of you or three of you and no one else at all.
Yeah,
That is not
there's
true.
many people, many friends also. Just didn't go to the class together every day.
Yeah. And how do you organize the whole thing? Like the online meet or the sport days? Do you have like the club for homeschooling kids and stuff like that?
Yeah, we
I
have.
see. Okay. And you mostly like keep in touch online
Yes.
to arrange all the meetings and activities.
Yes, we're meeting like maybe like my close friend meet like 1 week's time.
And did you know at the time that after this you go into the uni? Okay.
Yes.
So you prepared yourself that after spending time outside of the system, you'll go
Yes.
back into the system
Yes.
again. How well prepared were you? Like when you got close to like grade 11, grade 12, okay, next year I'm going into the uni.
I think it feel very normal because I'm in the society like many society because I also have friends. I also have to study the same things.
Yeah.
I also have to do the homework like that, like the
okay.
same.
So he's not
Just-
hiding in the cave by himself.
I just need to go to the classroom.
That's it. Like commute. Like you have to
Yeah.
like actually go to the uni. That's all.
But it's the feeling like that I just noticed when I was in the university because I haven't been with friends, go to class together, have lunch together, spend most time a day together like that. It's my first time having that. And
Do you like it?
Yes.
All right, good.
And when I was high school before university, my society is like working society. My friend is like over 30 years old, till like very old man.
Like your camera crew or like people you work with on your trip?
Yes, maybe like that. I have gone with one of my friends that very old. Friends, maybe I can use word friends because
Yeah.
I go there and she bring me to her mom and I am the youngest friends of she's.
Yeah.
And I'm 18 and she was 60.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like-
that's the thing about English. When you switch to use English, everybody's friends.
Yeah.
Right? แต่พอเป็นภาษาไทยปั๊บจะเรียกเพื่อนก็อาจจะไม่ได้
แต่เขาแนะนำเขาอินโทรวินให้แม่เขาฟังว่านี่คือเพื่อนที่อายุน้อยที่สุดของเขา
โอ้
เป็นเพื่อนที่ถ่ายรูปด้วยกัน
โอ้น่ารักจัง
แบบนี้
ดีจัง แต่ก็ต้องยังต้องเรียกว่าคุณป้าอยู่
ใช่ครับ
นะ
ใช่ครับ
โอเคครับ
เรียกว่าแบบคุณอาคุณน้าอะไรอย่างนี้
But it's good having like multi-generation of friends.
ผมเป็นคนเลือกสังคมตรงนี้เองด้วยเพราะว่าแบบthere's not a lot of kids that wildlife photograph
Yeah.
I have my kid friend that wildlife photograph that do wildlife photography, just like 4 or 5 people.
So do you know like for a fact how many like wildlife photographers are in Thailand or even
Now-
like young?
Now it's a lot because I don't know. I think it's like they have one moment that is like a trend or something, and many people go into wildlife photography.
Which is a good thing, right?
I think no, because when they go into wildlife photography from a trend, they don't know like what they actually can do. Sometimes they get too close to animal that they don't know. They just want a good picture. Because most wildlife photographer from past, I think 50% maybe we start from bird watching or mammal watching with a binocular. We know that we need to have a space. We need to get very far from the animal to respect their safety zone like that. But the newbie that come with the trend, they come and they like, oh, I just want a good picture, and we get too close. And sometimes the wildlife, the bird, we didn't feel safety with them.
Yeah, like get a selfie with a bear. No, you should not do that.
Yes.
And yeah, people these days would do everything for good pictures, like you said.
I think it's good. It's good that have many wildlife photographer, but they need to know that how to respect the nature. Every animal have their safety zone. What is this kind of animal safety zone? How range is it? This animal can get close 2 meters, 3 meters. Not safety just for ourselves. It's safety for animal to feel like comfortable because it's their home. In the forest, it's their home, not our home.
That's such a good point. Yeah. And no wonder, no surprise that you chose to study zoology. What was that what you study zoology?
Yes.
Okay. So some people might confuse it with sattava phat, like veterinary medicine.
Yeah.
So you studied this not to cure animal, but just to study animal.
Yes, study
Okay.
about animal, like animal behavior, สรีรวิทยา like biology, botany, some micro things in the animal body, anatomy, something like that. And working like งานวิจัย researcher, something like that.
So basically, you're a scientist studying animal as a main thing.
Yeah, sounds
right?
like that.
Yeah, okay. Another thing I really need to ask you is your English, because you speak a good English, really good. How do you teach yourself to be this good?
I think because I work with like production company from London, so I need to use like 100% English because they don't understand Thai. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
So
I think it's from that,
the
from
real
work.
use in life.
Yeah.
That's what makes you good.
But I'm like, my grammar is very bad, I think.
It's not that bad.
I'm used just for like conversation. For writing, I need still use some ChatGPT sometimes.
Oh,
for
everybody
work.
does that now.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be smart to use it, and otherwise not to.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you do homeschooling, when you did homeschooling back then, you still have to study English too, right?
Yes.
Because that's a core.
Yeah.
Like core subject that you will have to use for sure in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's good. Another thing I want to ask you is that can anybody, just anybody, do what you do? I mean, taking pictures of like wildlife animal. If they have like smartphone and they
Yeah.
go into the forest and
Yeah.
do what you do.
We can use smartphone, but we need to don't get close to them because smartphone cannot zoom a lot. Maybe like the super zoom smartphone right now that we use for in the concert. That one I think is okay to use because we can zoom.
Just keep like
Yeah. We can use, just don't get too close to them.
Okay.
Respect their safety zone.
Yeah, you cannot stress that enough because it's not the technicality or your skill of operate a camera, but your mindset or your understanding of how this wildlife photography work, like respecting the animals and their habitat. That's one big thing too.
Yeah.
And what else do you think is important for maybe a person who is still new with wildlife photography that they really have to be careful about?
I think animal behavior is very important. You need to know that, like, firstly, safety zone. All wildlife have their own safety zone. Some very safety zone, like very big range. but some is like small range. Also for our safety, like maybe we taking a picture of gore elephant. How can we survive if they run to us? If they run to me like that, how can survive?
Like study all the worst case scenarios things.
Yes, like in the
and
worst
be prepared.
case. Yeah, I think just that
Mostly safety,
more
right?
important than the basic of the camera. After that, after you understand nature, understand animal, so you start to understand your camera.
Yeah, so there's a lot of homework that you have to do prior going into the wild and start taking pictures.
Yes.
All right. It's been a lot of fun and refreshing conversation that we've had with you, Win, and we appreciate what you do. We appreciate you coming here and
Thank
sharing
you.
all these experience with us. And we can only hope for you to get better and whatever you have passion for. And I think you're gonna do great.
Thank you very much. Hopefully.
Yeah. So I ask this with all my guests on the show because our show is called คำนี้ดีก็เลยอยากรู้ว่าวินคำนี้ดีของวินคือคำว่าอะไรครับ in all the languages that you speak which is Thai and English
English, I like the word respect.
respect
Yeah, because like I tell many times, like respect the safety zone. I think respect is everything. Like we respect each other. When we talk, we respect each other. When we go to the wild, we respect nature. When we work, we respect the customer. Like that. It's everything. And if we respect each other, everything will be good. I think.
That's a great word and that's such a great start of all relationships I think wow I like that any Thai word for us
ให้เข้ากับสัมภาษณ์วันนี้ก็อาจจะเป็นคำว่าสิ่งแวดล้อม
ครับ
เพราะว่ารู้สึกว่าสิ่งแวดล้อมจริงๆมันไม่ใช่ธรรมชาติอย่างเดียวเพราะว่าแบบเนี่ยในห้องนี้ก็คือสิ่งแวดล้อมเรามีแบบความหลากหลายทางชีวภาพเรามีนู่นนี่นั่นสิ่งแวดล้อมคือแบบอย่างเงี้ยในห้องก็คือสิ่งแวดล้อมที่เรามีผมมาให้สัมภาษณ์มีพี่บิ๊กเป็นคนสัมภาษณ์มีช่างภาพมีช่างคนถ่ายวิดีโอมีคนเขียนบทอะไรนู่นนี่นั่นซึ่งถ้าเกิดสมมุติว่าสิ่งแวดล้อมดีอย่างเงี้ยมันก็จะเป็น good space ของพวกเราเหมือนกันอย่างเงี้ยครับ
Wow, I like that. So again, he's 18, very young, and to me, this is hope. I really like that. ขอบคุณวินมากครับ
ขอบคุณครับสวัสดีครับ